I'm 22, and a few days ago, I stood in my aunt's cramped kitchen, the smell of burnt sugar and stale coffee hanging in the air, and tore into my cousin Nora like I'd been waiting years to do it. She's 28 now, older, supposedly wiser. But all I see when I look at her is a woman who's let her life, and her kid, spin out of control. Her son, Milo, is 8, a wiry little terror with a smirk that makes my skin crawl. We were there to talk about him, about the chaos he drags everywhere. But it wasn't just that. It was everything. Years of watching him ruin every family moment. Years of Nora doing nothing. And that night last week when he crossed a line I couldn't ignore. Let me back up. Nora's got a past. One that's whispered about in our family like a ghost story. She was 16 when it happened. Some guy at a birthday party, drunk and pushy, wouldn't take her no for an answer. I was a kid then, maybe 10, too young to grasp it, but I remember the way the house went quiet after. Mom told me later it was brutal. Nora broken. The guy locked up eventually for doing it again to someone else. She pulled herself out of that wreckage though. Married Tom, a decent guy with a steady job, had Milo. You'd think she'd turned a corner, built something solid. But Milo, he's proof she didn't. He's a brat, wild, loud, a tornado of entitlement. And Nora just watches him like he's some untouchable prince. I've hated it for years, the way she lets him run roughshod over everyone, but I kept my mouth shut. Until last week. It was Grandma and Grandpa's 50th anniversary. A milestone, a rare bright spot for us. We threw a small party at their place, the backyard strung with lights, a folding table groaning under Mom's potato salad and Aunt June's lopsided cake. I was there with my sister-in-law Kate and her daughter Clara, 5 years old and all big eyes and shy smiles. The night was humming along, laughs, clinking glasses, Grandpa's bad jokes, until Milo showed up with Nora and Tom. I saw him coming, that swagger in his step, and my stomach tightened. He's ruined every holiday, every dinner, every din we've tried to keep sacred. Last Christmas, he smashed my cousin's new drone. Easter, he dumped juice on the rug and laughed. Nora always shrugs it off. He's just a kid, and we swallow it, bitter and silent. This time, though he didn't just annoy, he destroyed. First, he scrapped with my cousin Ben's boys over some petty nonsense. One wanted the swing, the other a stick I don't even know. Nora sat there, sipping her wine, ignoring their shouts. Then he zeroed in on Clara. She was clutching this little plastic horse, her favorite, one she'd brought from home. Milo demanded it, hands grabby, voice whining when she shook her head. No, she said, soft but firm. Hugging it tighter, that's when he lost it, screaming, red-faced, a tantrum that turned heads. Before anyone could move, he ripped the horse from her grip and swung it, cracking it against her mouth. Clara wailed, blood streaking her chin, and I saw it, a broken tooth, jagged and small, dangling in her gum. The yard erupted. Kate lunged, scooping Clara up, her face a mask of rage. I was on my feet, heart pounding, yelling at Nora as she ambled over like it was no big deal. He hit her! I shouted, pointing at Milo, who just stood there smirking, the horse still in his fist. Nora blinked at me, then, unbelievably, turned to Clara, cradled in Kate's arms, and said, "You need to say sorry, sweetie. It's not nice to be selfish." Selfish? My niece? Bleeing and sobbing? Selfish? Kate exploded, voice shaking with fury. Are you kidding me? Your kid just smashed her face and she's selfish? Everyone piled in. Ben and June, even Grandpa, his voice gravelly with anger. But Nora doubled down. Arms crossed. insisting Clara showed shared. It was insane, like she'd lost her damn mind. That's when I snapped. The words clawed up my throat, years of frustration boiling over. "You raising him to be a rapist, Nora?" I yelled, loud enough to stop the chaos cold. "He can't take a no, just like that guy who—" I didn't finish. Her face went white, eyes wide, and the air sucked out of the yard. Kate grabbed my arm, hissing, "Ellie, enough!" But I shook her off. Nora grabbed Milo and stormed out, Tom trailing behind, and the party collapsed into stunned silence. Mom pulled me aside later, voice low. "You shouldn't have said that," she muttered, then paused. "But you're not wrong." I didn't dwell on it much after that. We were too busy. Clara's tooth was a baby one, thank God, so it'd fall out anyway, and Kate took her to the dentist to be sure. The family rallied, texting me late that night. Ben, Aunt June, even my quiet cousin Sam, all saying I'd hit the nail on the head. "She's a shitty mom," Ben wrote. "Milo's a monster because of her." Mom didn't blame me either. She just sighed and said Nora's always been blind to her own mess. I felt righteous, like I'd finally called out the rot what all ignored. Nora, was the problem, not me. I'd said what needed saying, and if she couldn't handle it, tough. Then today hit like a freight train. I'm sprawled on the couch, scrolling my phone when Mom bursts in, her face tight. "Tom just called," she says, voice clipped. Nora's falling apart. I sit up, confused. "What? Why?" She paces, hand wringing. She's locked herself in their bedroom, crying, saying she's a failure, that she's turning him into... Mom stops, but I know the rest. A rapist. My words echoing back, shredding her. My stomach lurches. She's abandoning him. I choke out, and Mom nods. Grim. Tom's furious, screaming at me on the phone, saying you broke her, that she's a wreck because of you. I blink. I broke a room. Tilting. Broke her? Nora. The one who's let Milo run wild, who stood there defending him while Clara bled. She's the victim now. My phone starts buzzing. Texts from Tom's sister. Then his mom, venom dripping through the screen. "You're a bitch, Ellie." One reads, "She's not eating, not sleeping because of your cruel mouth." Another, "How dare you?" "She's left Milo with us. Her own kid. Because you crushed her." Mom's shaking. Mom sits beside me, quiet for once. "They're blaming me," I whisper, and she squeezes my shoulder. "They're wrong. This is on her. She's the one who's failed him, not you." But the words don't land. I see Milo's face. That smirk. Those wild eyes. And Nora's too, pale and shattered as she fled the party. Did I do this? Push her over some edge she's been teetering on since that night 12 years ago? I thought I was justified. Thought I was protecting Clara, us, the family. Mom's asleep, but I'm pacing the kitchen, barefoot on cold tile, replaying it all. That party, Nora's blank stare, Milo's fist, Clara's cry, my voice sharp and reckless, slicing through the chaos. "You're raising him to be a rapist." It felt true then. Still does, in a dark corner of my gut. Milo's 8, but he's already a bully. A kid who takes what he wants, who doesn't hear no. And Nora, she's the root letting him fester, refusing to see it. But now she's crumbling, and I'm the one who lit the match. I grab my phone, scroll the texts again. Tom's family. Relentless, calling me a monster. She's traumatized. His sister writes, "You threw her assault in her face." Did I? I didn't mean to. I didn't even finish the sentence. But it's there, isn't it? That shadow from her past, the guy who broke her and me dragging it into the light. My chest tightens, guilt and defiance warring inside me. I didn't mean to hurt her like this, to send her spiraling back to that night. I wanted her to wake up to see Milo for what he's becoming. But maybe I cut too deep, hit a wound I can't fathom. I call Kate, voice trembling. Did I fuck up? I ask, no preamble. She's quiet, then sighs. You said what we've all thought, Ellie. She's a mess. And Milo's worse because of it. But yeah, that rapist line, it was a gut punch. Too far, maybe too far. The words echo, and I sink onto the floor, back against the fridge. She stitched him, Kate. Left him with Tom's mom because of me. She curses under her breath. Thoughts on her, not you. She's running from the truth, not you. I want to believe her, but the doubt's a blade, twisting. By morning, I'm hollow. Mom makes coffee, her eyes soft but firm. You're not the bad guy here, she says, sliding a mug over. Nora's been dodging this for years. Milo's her mirror. She can't face it. I sip, the heat burning my tongue, and nod. The family's still behind me. Texts trickle in, Ben saying, "She needed to hear it," and June adding, "You're brave, kid." Another message pings. She's talking about therapy now thanks to you. Hope you're happy. Happy? I'm sick, tangled in this mess I didn't mean to make. 2 days later, it escalates. I'm at work. Some shitty retail gig, folding shirts to keep my hands busy. When Tom calls, I almost don't answer. But the ringing's insistent. A drilling, he says. Wiry, he says, voice rash. What do you mean, gone? He chokes out. She packed a bag, left Milo with my mom, and took off. Won't say where. She's saying she's a monster. That you were right. I gripped the counter. Knees buckling. Tom, I didn't. He cuts me off, furious. You did. You broke her, Ellie. She's lost it, and Milo's asking for her, and I don't know what to do. The line goes dead, and I'm shaking, the store spinning around me. She's gone. Left her kid, left everything, because of me. I stumble to the break room, texting Mom, fingers fumbling. Nora's run off. Tom says it's my fault. She calls back instantly. Voice steady. Ellie, breathe. This isn't you. This is her. She's been cracking for years, but I can't breathe. I see Milo, alone, confused, and Nora, shattered, driving some empty road because my words ripped her open. I wanted her to see, not collapse. That night, I drive to Grandma's, needing something solid. She's in her rocker, Grandpa dozing beside her, and I spill it all. Clara's tooth. My outburst. Nora's breakdown. Grandma listens, her wrinkled hands still, then says, "You spoke truth, Ellie. Hard truth. She couldn't take it, but that's her burden, not yours." I cry then, hot, messy tears, and she pulls me close. You didn't make her past. You didn't make Milo. She did. It's a lifeline, thin but real, and I cling to it. Weeks crawl by, and Nora doesn't come back. Tom's mom keeps Milo, and I hear through the grapevine, Ben's wife, nosy as ever, that Nora's holed up in some motel 2 states over, seeing a shrink, trying to piece herself together. Tom's a wreck, barely talking to anyone, and his family's hate burns hotter. You destroyed them, his sister texts, a final stab before I block her. My family stands firm. Even Grandpa, gruff but certain. She had it coming, he mutters one Sunday, and I nod, but it's hollow. I see Clara again, her gap-toothed grin brighter now, and Kate hugs me tight. He said, she says, and I hold on to that. But Milo haunts me. His smirk fading to a lost kid's stare, abandoned because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I didn't mean this. Didn't want Nora to break. Didn't want Milo cast aside. I wanted her to fix it, to be the mom he needs. Instead, I lit a fuse, and it blew everything apart. One night, I sit on my bed, staring at a photo from that anniversary, Clara giggling, Milo lurking in the background. I'm not sorry for what I said. It was true, raw, necessary. It was true, raw, necessary. But the fallout... It's a weight I'll carry, a scar etched deep. Nora's out there, wrestling her demons, and Milo's growing up without her, and I'm here, caught in the wreckage. I don't know if I'm the villain or the voice they needed, maybe both. But I know this. I won't stay quiet next time either. Not when it matters.